Hamas was formed in December 1987, during the First Intifada, a Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. The word, Hamas, is an acronym in Arabic for, Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, which translates to the Islamic Resistance Movement. It was founded by Palestinian members of the Muslim Brotherhood, a transnational Islamic movement. The early leaders of Hamas were individuals like Sheikh Ahmed Yassin and Abdulaziz al-Rantisi. Hamas is rooted in Islamist and nationalist ideologies. Its founding charter, released in 1988, asserts the group's mission to liberate Palestine from Israeli occupation and establish an Islamic state on the entire land of historical Palestine, including the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, a quadriplegic cleric and the co-founder of Hamas, played a central role in its early years, providing spiritual guidance and fostering support. Abdulaziz al-Rantisi was another influential leader who helped shape Hamas in its formative years. In its early years, Hamas focused on providing social services to the Palestinian population. It established schools, hospitals, orphanages, and welfare programs, aiming to gain grassroots support by addressing the pressing needs of the Palestinian people. Over time, around the 1990s, Hamas escalated its resistance against Israeli occupation, resorting to violent means such as suicide bombings, shootings, and attacks on Israeli military targets and civilians. The group viewed these actions as part of its struggle for Palestinian liberation. In 1993, Hamas opposed the Oslo Accords, a series of agreements between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, viewing them as compromising Palestinian rights. They believed that negotiation with Israel would undermine the Palestinian cause. In 1997, the United States designated Hamas as a foreign terrorist organization due to its involvement in acts of terrorism against Israeli targets. Many other countries followed suit, contributing to its global reputation as a terrorist organization. During the early 2000s, Hamas gained notoriety for organizing and carrying out a series of suicide bombings targeting Israeli cities and civilians, resulting in significant casualties and a climate of fear. In the 2006 Palestinian legislative elections, Hamas surprised many by winning a majority of seats. This victory granted Hamas a significant role in the Palestinian political arena, causing a rift with the Fatah-led Palestinian Authority. The aftermath of the 2006 election led to internal conflict, with violent clashes erupting between Hamas and Fatah. Hamas ultimately took control of the Gaza Strip, while Fatah retained control over the West Bank. Following Hamas's takeover of Gaza, Israel and Egypt imposed a blockade on the region in 2007, severely restricting the movement of goods, people, and services in and out of Gaza. This blockade has had devastating humanitarian consequences. Hamas launched multiple rocket attacks into Israeli territory, particularly during the conflicts of 2008 and 2009, with Operation Cast Lead, in 2012, Operation Pillar of Defense, and 2014, Operation Protective Edge. These attacks led to Israeli military responses to deter Hamas. Over the years, various attempts were made to reconcile Fatah and Hamas, aiming to form a unity government. However, disagreements over governance, security, and other issues have hindered sustained reconciliation efforts. Hamas's refusal to recognize Israel's right to exist, renounce violence, and accept previous agreements, like the Oslo Accords, has complicated the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Hamas is alleged to have constructed a network of tunnels, some extending into Israel, for offensive and defensive purposes. They have also accumulated an arsenal of rockets, mortars, and other weaponry, often smuggled through tunnels from Egypt. Hamas has received varying levels of support from countries like Iran, Syria, and Qatar, both politically and militarily, although the degree and nature of support have fluctuated based on geopolitical circumstances. Hamas has engaged in diplomatic efforts with regional actors, notably Egypt, to broker ceasefires and negotiate with Israel. These efforts aim to alleviate the blockade and improve living conditions in Gaza. Ismail Haniyeh emerged as a prominent leader within Hamas, particularly after the 2012 conflict with Israel. He served as Prime Minister of the Hamas-led government in Gaza from 2007 to 2014 and has been involved in various diplomatic initiatives. In May 2021, tensions flared between Hamas and Israel, leading to an 11-day conflict marked by intense rocket attacks from Gaza and airstrikes by Israel. The conflict resulted in significant casualties and damage on both sides. On the 7th of October 2023, Hamas launched Operation Al-Aqsa Storm, firing thousands of rockets into Israel, and slaughtering hundreds at a festival of peace in Israel just near the border with Gaza. Israel immediately responded with a brutal retaliatory attack of its own, with airstrikes and missiles, pulverizing Gaza. Israel issued a statement saying it was now at war with Hamas. Many civilian deaths and casualties have been taken on both sides. US and European countries issued support to Israel to defend itself against terrorist atrocities. Hamas continues to govern the Gaza Strip, facing ongoing challenges related to the Israeli blockade, internal governance, and efforts to garner international support for its cause. Tensions are high and Hamas continues to fire rockets into Israel, while Israel continues its brutal retaliatory offensive.